All right, welcome back to the channel, everybody. We got a lot of work to do on that engine today on our Phantom. And what? Oh, you're right. That isn't our Phantom, but that is a Phantom. Let's get back to our Phantom. Huh. I think my finger snap is broken. I just got you guys into the title card there. Let's try this again. All right, good to be back in Texas with our Phantom, and I want to say a big thank you to Martin over at the Valiant Air Command Museum for having me up that day. That was an awesome day, and I did a walk around of their museum with the camera here, so you guys can expect that video out later in the week. Highly recommend the Valiant Air Command Museum if any of you guys are down near Port Canaveral, Florida. So anyway, we are going to get to this J79 that's back behind the airplane somewhere. So let's go check it out and see what we got going on today. All right, here we are at the J79 that we pulled out last week, and why we had to pull this engine out is right here on the engine trailer, the 4000 trailer, and it is this box right here that goes right there. And as installed in the airplane, it is extremely difficult to get to, especially on the number 2 side, because it's right up against the engine bay bulkhead. And in order to get to it, you have to take apart and remove the afterburner fuel pump, all of its associated piping, a lot of this wire harness, and a lot of other things just to get to that box. Now, what this box does is back here, and you see these little blocks that go around here. This is right after the combustors. So you got the compressor, you got the combustors, and the turbine is somewhere in this neighborhood. But you have these things called thermocouples, and what those are they just measure temperature. And there's about 12 of them in a ring all around the engine. All of their outputs go to that box. Now, what a thermocouple is, and I don't have a picture of these specifically, but I have a generic picture of one, and it looks kind of like this. All it is a probe, and it's got 2 dissimilar metals on the tip, and they're both wired to the probe. They usually got 2 wires on these things. And in response to temperature, they generate a very small, tiny voltage. We're talking on the order of millivolts. In order for that signal to be useful, you have to amplify it so it can go to different things like the instruments up in the cockpit and other devices. And this actually has an output to the nozzle controller for the nozzle. So if it senses that the engine is getting too hot, it'll actually command the nozzles to open up so it gets more airflow and help cool things down. So these have a tendency to fail from time to time, and those of you guys that work J79s will know this. And I did see one comment asking if that's why we pulled the engine, and yes, it was to get to that. Now, if this was in the number 1 side, oddly enough, you got a little bit more room to work with on that side to get to that box in particular. And meanwhile, while we have the engine out, we got other things to take care of and, tidy up the engine. This now also triggers an engine bay inspection. Also a good thing to do while the engine is out. But there is our issue that we had to deal with. So that is what we're up to today. We're cleaning up and doing a couple of preliminary things on the engine and in the engine bay, getting things cleaned up and getting ready to get installed and eventually put back into the airplane. And then we go test it and then start flying it again, hopefully. Now, to answer another common question I saw in the comments from last week's video is, how big is this thing? Well, let me tell you, it's quite large. And I took a tape measure this morning because I didn't know the answer. And if you just look it up online, you get different answers depending on what variant of a J79 you're talking about. If it's just the engine itself, the engine with the afterburner. You may find specs for the ground-based version of this engine called the LM1500. And they're all over the place. But as installed in our favorite airplane here, this thing is about 19.5 feet long. And that is going from the generator up at the nose of the engine all the way to the nozzle in its fully open configuration. Remember, our the nozzles on the Dash 15 versions of the engine kind of retract inwards as they close, so it's kind of neat. So that's as long as this particular engine will get. And remember, this is a Dash 15 variant used in the Air Force. And yes, I know some of you may be looking, it's like, hey, that's where the generator goes? Navy and Marine Corps Phantoms, the generator was down on the auxiliary gearbox, not up there on the nose. It's a nice little subtle difference with the Air Force versions, as I've learned. But that hopefully answers that particular question. And another one, if this is burning on your mind, pardon the pun, the afterburner section alone is about 9 feet long just by itself. So the engine's about 9 to 10 feet long itself. Just depends on if you count the generator as part of that or not, because not all J79s and or LM 1500s had that on the nose of the engine. Oh man, I could listen to that all day long. Oh, I love me some big round engines. All right guys, hope you guys enjoyed seeing that B-25 coming in for landing. Always a good time to see and hear those big round engines. Love it. It's kind of a slow day for us. We're just sitting around cleaning up the engine a little bit. There's not much going on today. We'll have a lot more guys here next week and doing a little bit more on the engine. So I'll have a little bit more for you guys next week. So with that, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.